Hello, I'm Adam, hailing from partsFUNknown, and welcome to another episode of No Rolls Barred. Now, this is not Season 2, because we can't all get into the same room to record it, and honestly, we're so proud of the way that series is shaping up that we want to save it until we can do it the very best that we can. However, we didn't want there to be no Rolls Barred during all of this, so we're experimenting with a series of one-shots set in alternate CBWs. For this one, well, you're about to find out, but for future ones, maybe you can help us decide where they're set. As ever, No Rolls Barred is based on a system designed by Nathan D. Powlett. Follow the link to his website in the description below, and in the meantime, enjoy this very special, non-canon, somewhat futuristic episode of No Rolls Barred. Take it away, Tom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CBW. My name is Tom, head of programming here at CBW, and these are our players.
I'm Ollie Davis, and I'm playing the High Flyer.
I'm Luke Owen, and I'm playing the Young One.
I'm Laurie Blake, and I'm playing the Veteran. Again.
I'm Lolo Brow, and I'm playing the Shoot Fighter.
I'm Adam Blompier, and I am the Golden Boy.
Right, let's do a fight. The year is 3000 AD. As the technological innovations that defined the early years of the 21st century became more advanced, and as an increasingly urbanized environment accelerated mankind's relationship with machines, the very nature of human society began to change. Technological engagement for convenience and efficiency deepened into a dependence on artificial systems. The populace were driven indoors by a polluted environment and punishing work hours born by the unchecked growth of city and industry. For most of the overinflated population, all they knew were work, sleep, and food. But the human machine cannot live on these things alone. The human animal, confined to a life of domestic isolation, viewing the world through the glow of a screen, craves something more. Now, more than ever, we need the grand operatic drama and primal combat-driven conflict that only professional wrestling can deliver. We need CBW. But
CBW.
But times have changed, and pro wrestling has changed with them. With the closing of public spaces, the fall of live entertainment, and the rise of a technocratic hierarchy, the people have turned their backs on the battle-in beefcakes of forgotten centuries. Our new champions are made of steel and circuits, wrestle-in robots built and remotely operated by the best and brightest, pounding 7 shades of piston into each other on the grandest stage of them all. Now, in the future, one mighty wrestling promotion remains, its tussling tendrils spread across the world, piping hot bowls of pneumatic pain onto our screens and into our hearts. Only the strongest servos will survive. Welcome to CBW. Welcome to Cyber Battle Wars.
The chants are actually just people typing it in the chat. Click, click, clack, click, click, clack.
Welcome, everyone, to Cyber Battle Wars, and welcome to another episode of Heavy Metal. Prepare yourselves as these robotic wrestlers clash inside and always inside the ropes in the name of mechs. Prepare yourselves as these robotic wrestlers clash inside and always inside the ropes in the name of mechs, machinery, and mayhem.
Oh, yes.
Screens across the globe cut now to the image of a large, burly, muscled wrestler wearing red, white, and blue tights, a bandana, and sporting a dyed blonde English mustache. As the camera zooms out, we see this is a still photo of a man on a poster, and above the image, the words "mass hysteria" in exciting red and yellow letters. The camera pans out further and further, and we find ourselves in a workshop of sorts. Lolo, please can you describe the person we see working in this shop and the machine they are working on?
So in the workshop, you have someone who is wearing clothes that used to be considered smart. They probably were good quality at some point, but they are kind of worn down at the knees and they're ripped apart. They're jeans and a white vest, and a corduroy shirt. Their bulging muscles in their arms are just kind of like pushing the fabric out, and they are leaning over something with care and love and really true focus. The workshop is nice. It's actually quite good considering the area it's in. And there are posters all over the wall commemorating absolute admiration for someone who is an inspiration to the person that stands over their beautiful machinery.
And can you give us a brief description of this machine itself?
Yeah, I can. It's got yellow legs. And they're so yellow. They're like canary yellow. The kind of yellow that you look at and you feel sick. It's the kind of yellow that people look at and think that's the colour that people put in children's nurseries because they think that yellow has anything to do with gender. That kind of yellow. It's got really, really purple kneecaps. And they are really chunky legs, very industrial. Goes up to the body, still continuing in this fucking yellow, and into these huge, massive, ridiculous industrial arms. And on the end of the arms are two forklift hands. I don't know why I'm doing penguin hands. So two forklift hands. They're like forks, but not forks. In fact, they're like loosely related to forks. There's a lot of drama over the cutlery relation, but we'll get into that later. And on the back, there is a circular saw that can be uncovered and used at any moment. And then there's this huge, massive, giant yellow and purple head.
Great. The name of this robot, please.
The Fork.
The Fork, excellent. A video screen sort of flickers to life on one of the walls, and we suddenly get a clip of the Fork's very first match for CBW wrestling the steel carbon canine Dogmatic, who is a quadrupedal dog-based robot. Can you tell us, please, how you deliver the Fork delivers the finishing blow on Dogmatic?
Dogmatic was a real son of a bitch. I put the two forks into the center of that little doggy mess. Shut up. And then split it wide open by just going pa.
Awesome. Another screen now flickers to life, and we see your 23rd match against the agriculture automaton Trans Farmer, who's a large, square-shouldered robot, still wearing denim dungarees, chewing a piece of cabling in his mouth. "Oh, I'm gonna crop the floor with you," he says, shaking his fist. Tell us how you deliver the finishing blow to Trans Farmer.
It's like Farmageddon all over again. The finishing blow to Transformer is forklift to Transformer. Oh, Christ alive. The people around here wouldn't be too pressed with that. I put either sides of the fork over what I can only imagine is the like head-ish side of the robot, and then it gets the neck's like in between the fork, and then I lift it off and it flies off somewhere else.
Awesome. We now see another screen flicker to life. Your 57th match against the Silicon Soldier Netcracker, dressed up to look like a toy soldier. Tell us how you deliver the finishing blow to Netcracker.
So he looks like a toy soldier?
He looks like a toy soldier, but he's a robot.
Okay, cool. So the toy soldier with like one of those flappy mouths?
Yes.
Okay,
for cracking nuts.
Yeah, for cracking nuts. Christ. So I just put my forklift into his mouth, and then I twist it that way, it snaps off, and then that is the first bit of it, and then I'm dramatically coming up with the second bit. God, creativity is hard when you've been in a house. And then forklifts between its legs, and then spread them wide open, and then crack them either way.
Smash! Another screen burst into life for your 74th match against the Gigabyte Gunslinger Screenshot, who wields his two robotic six-shooters and says, "Allow me to improve your gun time," and starts firing at you. Tell us how you deliver the finishing blow to Screenshot.
All right, so I'm just like gonna be like ting 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 with my amazing fork hands. I don't know if you noticed, they're really amazing. But and then I'm gonna spin round and turn on my electric saw and just reverse into him, sawing him completely in two.
Awesome. Okay, and a fifth screen snaps into life for your 86th match and 86th victory against the red hot resistor Firewall, who's this short but very squat robot with sort of wheels instead of legs, who is just moving on this pivoting sort of axis of a body, blasting hot jets of flame from these huge flamethrowers in each hand. Time to burn some data.
Okay, right. I tear off one of my oil pipes in my arm, and I let the fuel leak all around them, so as soon as they set off their fire, they just go up straight in flames themselves.
The robot bursts into flames and melts into a pile of slag and circuits. And
It's a
finally,
poorly designed thing.
Finally, your 99th match and 99th consecutive victory against the jaws of defeat, Bitemare, who is literally just a huge metallic shark's mouth on wheels, whose jaws are closing down on you as your two forklifts grift the top jaw and the bottom jaw and try to stop these huge metallic teeth from crushing you into pieces. How do you deliver the finishing blow on Bitemare?
I turn on my electric saw, but I fly myself into the mouth, and like almost like I want to get swallowed. So I just like have the forks and then like just dive in like this, and then my electric saw just goes down their throat, and it works like a dream.
And then the jaws of Bitemare smash open, leaving you standing victorious in the center, and the crystal clear voice of the announce bot speaks out, winning their 99th victory, the Fork! And the synthetic sounds of a non-existent audience are piped through the empty arena. And nobody cheers loudly for you as people at home lose their shit. And then we briefly linger once more on this muscle-bound figure working away on the metallic body of Fork in this workshop. And then we fade to black. And then the screen now fades up on a different scene, a very plain background as a smooth voice rings out. And now a brief word from one of CBW's most generous investors. And as the image comes into focus, we see a large, luxurious armchair in a large, luxurious drawing room. On the wall above the fireplace is a painting of a very serious, very imposing looking man. And Adam, can you tell us who we see seated in this armchair, please?
Certainly. You see the one, the only, the bad kid of the robotic scene. It's Piston Fairmont, heir to the great Fairmont Robotics. He is wrapped in the dazzle, wears a beautiful shirt. I think you could probably describe him in 4 simple words. Genius, billionaire, playboy, really, really likes robots.
Wow.
I believe Piston, the mic is yours.
Oh, hello. I did see you there. I have an extensive security system. I was just polishing my noble peace fist for robot fighting. Let's see now. My father wanted me to welcome you to the show. Let's see what he wanted me to say. When my father created Fairmont Robotics, he had a vision of a cleaner world. One where man can fulfill his greatest potential uninhibited by the flesh. My father never really liked flesh that much. I think he was missing out personally. Fairmont Robotics has transformed the world. When all functions can be carried out by our robo friends, the air is cleaner, the streets are safer. Well, there's no one on them, of course they are. And we've all transcended to a new cyber world, a better world of thought and untold possibilities, blah, blah, thesaurus.com. Point is, it all comes down to this. This is the F chip, my father's masterpiece. It's this that provides the synaptic connection between man and machine. It's this that turns thought into action, and upon all of this, billions of lives revolve. Mass humanity, mass thought, mass action. The F chip. Of course, my father had dreams of mechanized environmental rehabilitation, the total unmanning of warfare, blah, blah, blah. But it was Piston Fairmont who said, let's take the F chip and use it to make robots fight. Now, of course, people might think that this is very expensive, and it is. Not every household can have an F chip. Not everyone's as privileged as the Fairmonts. But you know what I say to that? Life isn't fair. Life's Fairmont. Cheers. Especially all you boys at Incorporated.
And with that, the image fades on Piston Fairmont, lingering just for a moment on the glint of his beautiful sunglasses and, one can only assume, pristine teeth. And we now cut, as screens around the world watching Cyber Battle Wars cut to the familiar site of the Cyber Battle Wars arena, a huge circle squared where these robot wrestlers will be doing their wrangling. The familiar voice of the announcer rings out over screens and speakers across the country and across the world. Making its way to the ring, hailing from New Surrey, the billionaire Playbot.
That's my robot, by the way. Yes, the billionaire Playbot is, imagine if a Ferrari was a wrestler. It's absolutely immaculate. It's completely white, of course. It strides into the arena with the confidence of a man who plays cricket for a living. It's beautifully pleated, like bone straight metal casing around the legs. There's some sort of odd synthetic fabric that looks almost like a kind of a cricket jumper with beautiful golden piping around the sleeves. And there's seems to be some sort of very scarlet electrical wiring around the neck of the robot to look like a cravat. The hair of the robot, it's all real imported orphan hair, and it's parted in a beautiful slicked back side parting. It looks absolutely amazing. It's worth several $1 trillion. And of course it's powered by this baby. So it's got a leg up on everyone.
So as you wait in the center of the ring, more music blasts out, a different piece of music that sounds quite similar to yours, but just maybe not quite as good. Making their way to the ring, also hailing from New Surrey, the Millionaire Fun Robot. Storming, arms moving, left, right, very, very stiff, very formal, is a shining chrome robot wearing, or whose chassis has been made out to resemble an Armani suit. You know, neat lapels, a double-breasted blazer, some smart-looking shiny gloves. There is a very tiny, very thin, curled, waxed moustache made out of steel wire curling around the head of this smiling, pretty handsome, I guess, all things considered, gentleman robot. Piston. On your vid screen from your remote control room, you see a face, the familiar, fresh, cheeky, arrogant face of your not even really business rival, but definitely business contemporary, Archie Incorporated of the Incorporated family. Ha! Fairmont, jolly good show, eh? Can't wait to tussle in the ring with you, eh? Emperorsbury rules.
Can the chit chat, Archie? Let's make this quick. I have meetings to attend.
Oh, come now, Piston. I'm sure you can find a little bit of time to talk shop with a fellow roboticist.
Archie, I think you'll find that time is money, which means that, then yes, I would have all the time. So hang on, I need to look, and then I just punch. I make my robot punch his robot as hard as he can.
Yeah, the electronic buzz of the bell rings out across the arena, and your beautiful robot's fist collides with the face of Archie Incorporated's millionaire fun robot, curling one of his curled steel moustache curls back against his face as the robot stumbles back a couple of steps.
Okay,
what are you doing?
I'm in control. I'm going to pat the robot. I said when I'm talking about myself, I guess I'm talking about what the robot is doing, or am I directing the robot?
Because of the F chip, you just describe what the robot is doing.
Certainly. So I reach down and place my hand kind of firmly on the millionaire funbot. I raise
robot.
Millionaire fun robot. I raise him to his feet. I kind of I dust him down, and then I offer him a handshake. It says, "No hard feelings, old bean. Put her there."
I'd like you to roll on look, please, to see if you can convince him.
My look is +1. I'm a charming motherfucker. That is 9. Of course it is.
Oh, well, I must say I was a little taken aback by that sucker punch, but I suppose classic Piston. Put her there, old chum. And Archie's robot reaches out its chrome hand to you.
Does the arena have a ceiling?
It is a vaulted ceiling. It's incredibly high.
Excellent. As soon as the hands connect, the jet propulsions in my robot's feet launch us both into the sky. And then once we reach the crest of our velocity, I drop him.
I'm going to say,
Scar-like.
because you're not a flying robot, this is going to be a work roll to see if you can pull this off.
I may not be a flying robot, but I'm an expensive robot. My work is +1. That is 8.
Yeah, so your jet propulsion, the little jet propulsion rockets in the bottom of your robot boosts start to lift you up. We'll have to say because you've all picked a very specific robot power, and yours is not. You are not a flight-based robot. We're going to say you only managed to raise about maybe a robot's height, which is still a significant, good sort of, let's say 8 to 10 feet or so off the ground, enough to get the huge bulk, because all of these robots are big, massive, bulky things. Enough distance off the future mat to allow you to drop him. Are you basically doing a jet boot pile driver?
I'm going to drop him so that he lands, and then I'm going to do something on.
Okay, so he lands. Sure, absolutely. You drop him, and with a familiar clank boom, he hits the base of the mat.
Then I'm going to hit the big cash, which is like a big splash, but basically I just land my robot's full weight on him.
That is going to be a power roll for the big cash.
Power roll. Oh, that's -1. That would be Snake Eyes.
So as your robot sort of tilts into a horizontal plane in order to perform the big catch and drop full body on Archie's robot, you're not a flying robot, and you just don't count for the continued propulsion of your boots, which causes you to then jet past him, moving on a horizontal direction towards the edge of the circle squared. This gives Archie the opportunity to get up on both feet, grab you by the ankles, and start to swing you round and around and around as his waist just starts moving 360 on this very smooth robot axle. Just swings you around and around and around. Whew! Here we go around. Here we go around again. Piston, zing.
He says, "One-liner." Which one of the seat sniffers at the lab taught you that one?
Derek. What are you doing? You're being spun around by Archie Incorporated. What are you doing?
All right, I'm going to. I cock my fist, and I aim it at Archie's head to uncork the Chateau Lafiste 1869, which is when my fist shoots out like a champagne cork. It's named after Piston's favourite ludicrously expensive wine.
I am going to let you roll and look on that because it's very Piston Fairmont.
Luke +1. That's 6. Bollocks. I'm going to.
So once per match, you have your rerolls once per match because this is a two match card of everybody. Once per match, you can do both your roll reroll and your gimmick reroll.
Okay, my gimmick reroll is I'm the golden boy. What's the gimmick reroll on that?
Your gimmick reroll, I think, is to embrace the future.
Embrace the future. Okay, well, I'm going to say that I am embracing the future where there is only one robotics company in the world, and that is Fairmont Robotics. I am becoming heir apparent in my father's eyes. I assume that my dad must love robot fighting, and that I will be making him proud and sealing my place in the pantheon of robotic greats. How's that for you, DM?
Ooh, can you give me a little bit more?
No, I'm done.
That is. I mean, that's what's going through your head. But it needs to be. You need to tell me how your action is you embracing the future, like how what you were doing to get yourself out of the situation is embracing the future. Other than just, I see a future where I win.
So I implement an untested turbocharge of the F chip. It's risky. It's incredibly dangerous. My father strongly advised against it, but I've been tinkering with this, trying to forge my own legacy in the ring. I've been working. I've been doing some upgrades, some patches, tech words, you know. So I'm going to try and turbocharge my F chip to try and get myself out of this situation.
Terrific. Yeah, you can do a reroll on that. I'll allow that.
Fantastic. Look, +1. Bang! That's 10.
That's 10. Take us through.
So
take us through the move, the Chateau nerfed.
So engaging the F chip as I am, the kind of this surge of adrenaline in my body overloads my robot's circuits, and it unclasps at the wrist, and this huge fist, immaculate, heavy, solid steel fist shoots out and clatters with Archie's millionaire fun robot, and I would assume that he is disoriented enough to drop me.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As soon as that fist connects, the grip on the fun robot is released from your robo ankle, and yeah, the billionaire fun robot is dazed as much as a robot can be dazed. It is computationally disorientated as it staggers around the mattress.
I'm going to kick the robot in its balls, I want to say, and go for my privileged pile driver.
Go for it. That is going to be for a kick in the balls. Oh, fine. That is so incredibly piston. You can roll and look for that as well.
Lovely. +1. That is 7.
Just about. It's actually quite hard to get bearing on where the balls are because the robot is
ball bearing. Ball bearing.
It's
ball bearing. Okay,
let's pretend we thought of this all along. It's quite hard to get your ball bearings. Nailed it. But you successfully managed to do it. Just as the millionaire fun robot turns to face you, you hoof your robofoot, or the billionaire playbot hoofs its robofoot right up into the robo groin of the fun robot, and it collapses to the ground. It is now ready for you to hit what I assume is your finisher.
No, this is the setup to my finisher.
Okay, go for it.
This is my signature move. So the privileged pile driver, jam his head between my legs, lift up again. A slight boost from my jet propelled buttocks, which gives me a little lift in the air, and then slam right down on top of the head of the millionaire fun robot.
You can roll on. Oh, that is a power move for the. It's a pile driver. That's got to be a power move, I'm afraid.
All right. It is. That gives me a 3.
3. Unfortunately, again, as that little bit of boost comes again, it's not something you're able to get a grip of, and once again you lose handle on the millionaire fun robot. And
I would like to do a reroll, please.
Okay, are you doing your heal reroll?
Yes. So as I reach down and pick up the robot, tiny little pincers in my robot's hands start severing wires around the neck of the millionaire fun robot. Interfering with another robot's mechanics is deeply frowned upon. But I am trying to sever as many of the kind of connective cords as I can, basically trying to get an unfair leg up on Archie.
Go for it. Make that reroll.
Superb.
day, bastard.
That is 7, just.
So this is because this is such an underhanded move, you have to use an awful lot of precision and care to keep it out of the vid screens of the robo refs. But you successfully do, and these little pincers come out and they start cutting away at the wires. And as soon as they do, the flimsy connection that is keeping this inferior piece of machinery up and running starts to fail, and you just see the millionaire fun robot start to drop to its knees and quiver and twitch, and little sparks and things start to buzz out of it, and it just ends up. It is literally prone on the mat at this point. You see the eyes of Archie Incorporated like bulge in your communication screen. It's like, no, that's jolly unfair, Piston. Now we all love a good laugh, but come on now, Piston.
I look up into the cameras, and I tell Archie, suck a dick, fuck dad. And then I go in for my finisher, which is the wealth grab. The wealth grab, by which I mean I lock in a camel clutch, but as I do so, little kind of wires seep out from the hands. They enter into my opponent's inner workings and pump it full of molten palladium, which is an incredibly expensive metal, the most expensive metal in the world. But it gums up their internal workings, renders their robot completely inert, and it's the most ludicrously expensive way of doing that.
Okay. Okay. I would say for that.
Is there a modifier if it's my finisher?
If it's your finisher, no. I suppose
my finisher.
If it's your finisher, that is just a straight 2d6 with no rerolls available to you.
Come on, wealth grab.
Another snake eyes.
Yes.
Oh dear! Well, this has never happened to me before.
It's working very quickly.
Must be cold in here.
Okay, so this is. So this is what's going to happen. You manage to maneuver the billionaire playbot around to get into that camel clutch position. You start to pump all of this expensive molten palladium into your opponent, and it starts to flow into the really disappointing robot of the really rather disappointing Archie Incorporated. However, you being an ostentatious man who likes to flaunt his wealth, I think it's not unreasonable to assume that you bought an awful lot of molten palladium just to show that you could. In fact, the amount you calculated was a little bit too much, and it does flow into the body of the millionaire play robot, and does cause the body just to sort of seize up and sort of melt from the inside out, but it also spills out into yours, and you find the limbs and the arms and the body of the billionaire playbot seizing up. Your ability to control it, the F-chip is still working fine. You can still speak to and communicate with it, but it isn't responding to your commands as its joints are starting to seize up from this metal that's leaking back into it. For the time being, that is going to be a -1 penalty on everything you do. Add a -1 to every single stat you've got, just for now. But that said, you are still functional, and the body of Archie Incorporated is flooded with palladium and still cannot move. The whole world is watching. What are you doing, Piston?
Well, I am furious, obviously, about this. I've been embarrassed in front of the world. My dad, the two are fundamentally the same. So I decide to do what I always do after my match, but even more aggressive. It's time for murder and acquisitions. So I just start ripping apart the robot and like salvaging all of like kind of its innards and sort of like start to strap them to my own robot. I'm taking trophies. I am kind of ripping this passion project of Archie Incorporated. I am tearing it apart.
Piston,
this is inferior tech. I rip the wires. I kind of buckle the chest plates.
No, you have everything. You have everything.
I turn on my jet propulsors and I start melting the inside so that it cannot be salvaged for a future match. Burn.
No,
because it's
Piston,
nothing,
please,
and
please,
you're nothing.
please. Oh, God,
Everyone
no,
who
please.
isn't a Fairmont is nothing.
And on that, you hear a heavy steam clank of another robot approaching for the top of the ramp. And Luke, please can you introduce your robot to us?
This is the Kremlin Crusader. It is a robot that is made up of various different things that I have salvaged from scrapyards. I have no money of my own. As you can tell, I am Russian due to my flawless accent. It is made up of a huge TV monitor as the face. The chest is the top of a tank. With the turret pointing downwards. The right arm is a Ka-50 helicopter with rotating blade. The left arm is the Moscow metro train. The right leg is a battleship. And the left leg is the rocket launcher casing that we used in Good Wars. And I step forward to look you dead in the eyes.
Just what the hell are you supposed to be?
I do not come here for glory. I do not come here for victory, for money, for the wealth that you have stolen. I simply come here for a much greater, much more important purpose. My legacy. A legacy that is not yours.
What do you know of legacy? My name is known across the globe. My technology is in every corner of every marketplace. I am this generation of robotics, and robotics is the world's legacy. I launch myself at him. I've had a really rough afternoon, and I can't be doing with this.
What are you doing? How are you launching yourself at him?
I'm going to try and wrap my head around my hands around his head and start cutting at his wires.
That is going to be cutting his wires. I'm going to say that is a that can be. We'll say work for that, I think, because it's sort of finicky work. You're trying to cut away the wires. You can roll and work for this.
Certainly, though -1 penalty means I'm working with a 0. That's a 8.
That's an 8. Okay, these very expensive tiny little blades start cutting through the wires in your robot body, Kremlin Crusader. You sort of start to feel your motor skills slow and disorient slightly. What are you doing?
So in the sort of the vid screen in Piston's sort of little place that he is operating from, I'm going to try and psych him out for a quick moment.
Okay. How are you going to do that?
By holding up an F chip.
Okay. I'm going to say, let's have a... Ooh, okay. Okay, let me quickly check this out. Okay. This is going to be a contested look roll to see if you manage to psych him out or not.
I'm rolling with 0 again. I have an 8.
9.
Oh! I'm psyched out.
Yeah. So, Piston, the sight of an F chip in someone else's hands, impossible. You are completely taken aback by this, giving you an opportunity. What are you doing, Kremlin?
I've seen the way that you fight. And now I suggest that we fight fair and red square. And with that, my robot sticks its 2 arms out and starts spinning. So the middle portion of me starts spinning for the vodka revolution. It's like Zangief's little spinning lariat move.
Amazing. So boom, 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 boom. These very cheap, scrapyard robotic fists keep smacking you across your pristine, chromatic jaw over and over and over and over again. You're being knocked back. You're getting 7 shades of something bashed out of your robot skull. What are you doing, Piston?
I'm going to have to activate my robot's special power, which is the unseen 1%. I'm going to turn invisible.
You're going to roll. You're gonna be roll on power for that because that is your robot power.
Oh no, but that's -2, Tom. Oh shag, that is 5.
So your whole body starts to shimmer and disappear from sight as you go from opaque to translucent to transparent to the point where you are completely 100% invisible. I'll tell you what's not invisible, though, is the palladium that leaked back into your body. And the outline of this palladium robo-skeleton is now completely in the sightline of the Kremlin Crusader. Kremlin, what are you doing?
Allow me to Putin you in your place. And I grab the sort of outline of him, because I can't see where he is, and lift him up onto my shoulders to do the Dynamo Valley driver and drive him into the mat.
Ooh, okay. Kremlin Crusader, the Dynamo Valley driver. The driver, as a pile driver, that is going to be a power move.
Oh, bollocks. That was a terrible decision.
What's your power?
-2. So that would be a total of 3.
Yay!
3. You lift him up, but in your robot Solid internal calculations, it did not compensate for the added weight of all this additional palladium, which is a very heavy metal. And you lose grip of the billionaire playbot as you get him over your shoulder, and you fall onto your back with the playbot now on top. Piston, what are you doing?
I'd like to leave. Can I leave?
Roll on coward. No, let's see. You can roll on look for that for sure.
All right, so 0 modifier. 6. I want to go.
So you manage. Yeah, you're on top of the Kremlin Crusader. You manage to get to your feet and use this moment advantage to try to run, but you're not quite fast enough. Kremlin, what are you doing?
If at first you don't succeed, Russian roulette is not the game for you. I am then going to, as he sort of leaves, grab him to do the side American leg sweep, because in Mother Russia they do not allow moves to be named after Russian. And that will... Oh, sorry, what was the...
leg sweep will give you a work for leg sweep for sure.
Oh, sweet. Because that will be 9.
Boom, your leg sweeps underneath the expensive, much more expensive than your legs, expensive legs of Piston Fairmont, and his robot falls to the mat. There's a crack and a groan, and some more... you can see the side of some more molten palladium start to leak out of some cracks in the body. Yeah, you're still in control for this.
If you want to play dirty, then so be it. And I activate my robot's special ability. So it sort of stands there, and the top of it opens up ever so slightly, and another robot jumps out of it. And then the chest of that one opens up, and another robot jumps out. And from out of that one, the chest opens, and another robot jumps out. These are the Russian dolls. Hammer, Sickle, and the Red Star. So I sort of control all of them to start to grab at different limbs, and I grab at the other limb to activate my finishing move, the submission, the Taptress, which is a submission. Basically, I want you to try and to give up, because you do not want your robots to be too destroyed as I try to rip it apart.
Okay, so that is going to be, for your finish, just a straight 2d6 roll.
I'm going to use a reroll. Because this is Smeg. It is 1 second. You've
got your face for standing up for what you believe in, and then you've got your gimmick, which is carving a name for yourself.
That's it. Yes. Well, I'm standing for what I believe in, because I do not like the way that this man operates. I do not like the way that he's using the F chip for this fairly pointless sport, and I want to stop him, because this chip is designed for greater use, and I believe that it has a much greater purpose.
All right,
go
Dad.
for it.
Your dad was a great man. 8.
8. Then take us through your finisher, please, and just how painful it is.
So Hammer, with his hammer hands, operates and sort of like starts smashing it onto one arm. Sickle, with his sickle hands, sickles away at the other arm. Red Star, who is a star-shaped robot, just sort of rolls up and down one of the legs. Sort of like just being a real nuisance, while the Kremlin Crusader, with a K, grabs at the other leg to sort of like tear it apart while yelling, "Now tap, submit, you are weak compared to my robot."
And with that, with the shredding of the red star and with the pounding of everything, Piston, you feel your robot, an already heavily damaged robot, break and fall apart. Yes.
Tap, 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 tap. I don't want him to break my robot anymore. I want to go home.
just before the robot is, just before the work these little robots are doing, and it reduces you to just a pile of scrap. You are still just about, the billionaire player is just about put together enough to tap out. And with that tap, bzz, 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 that's not a horrible sound. We'll just go with ding again. Ding, 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 ding. The electronic bell rings. Your winner, the mystery entrant. Yeah, the synthetic crowd cheers, and then all of a sudden, the lights in the arena go out entirely until there are just two spots directly top lighting both of your robots. The Futuretron, the screen of the Futuretron above the ramp, bursts into life, and you see the shape of a quantum wave appear as it moves and takes form and reacts to the sound of a robotic voice ringing out. Unacceptable. You will be taken downstairs to resolve this. And then two circular platforms start to revolve underneath where your robots are. And before you can even react, you whoosh, sink down below the arena and out of sight. There's a brief pause in darkness, and then the lights back on, the sound of the synthetic crowd back into the speakers, and then the Futuretron bursts to life once more. Laurie, I would like you to take us on a historical retrospective of the career of a particular wrestler, if you would be so kind.
Okay. So what appears on screen is a highlight reel of one man's accomplishments in wrestling. We start out with this bronzed god making his way down to the ring with his bleach blonde English moustache. He's the top face in the company, playing to a massive audience. He's slamming the biggest guy. He's raising the belts. He's performing on the biggest stages before hopping over to the other biggest company and being the top face there. He has a brief heel turn. He comes back. He's like the peak of his game until the moment he isn't in these clips. And there's a brief second of him starting to falter, starting to lose. He's on the downward spiral and he makes a decision. We see him in a chair with all these wires sticking out of a metal helmet and seeming energy being transferred from the wires coming from him and into a supercomputer style setup. We then see those same wires, the other side, downloading information, blue energy trickling out into a black box recorder. That black box is then plugged in. The lights light up in the eyes of this robot that looks conspicuously quite like the man. We get the exact same montage in reverse. We get we just get him the top of the company, slamming the biggest robot he can find. We get him holding all the title belts. We get a brief jaunt where he goes to Japan and is really big over there because they have robot wrestling there where he fights heated seated toilets or whatever it is. We get a brief period where he forms the NWD, the New World Droider, with two other robots. We then get to his big feud with his arch nemesis, Mecha Man Andrew Vicious, and the Mecha Powers are formed. The Mecha Powers literally explode because of a fuel uplink problem. And then we get to this moment at the end of the montage where thousands of wins, we are being bombarded with hundreds of thousands of images of this guy, this robot over the years, winning, staying on top, being victorious. Each time his hand is raised, there's that gleam in the eyes of like this bright blue gleam of the robot. And then over time, that seems to dull, each hand raised. And the last image is the robot with its arm raised, the man with its arm raised, standing side by side. And you can tell that the robot looks more sad.
The Futuretron cuts out, and making their way to the stage, hailing from the University of Kent, the Fork.
So there is a robot bigger than all the other robots. It's not the Fork. It's a really, really big robot that is dressed like a dinner lady. and she's got the cutlery drawer, and then she's like trying to find obviously a fork, but all she can find is spoons. It's really stressing her out. And then she just tips the whole thing out, and out of this giant cutlery drawer drops a very yellow industrial forklift hand, useful student from the University of Kent, which is not a fact that I forgot that I had told you was a part of this character, but that's fine. And then they storm down into the ring. Their robot is as shiny as possible. The fork is as shiny as possible, but has been completely scruffed and cuffed, and the paint is worn and torn. And they, at one point, they do just walk on their forklift hands, like a little forky handstand, and it's great. And then they get into the ring of doom and joy.
Yeah, the circle squared. So you stand there in the center of the circle squared, and the Futuretron bursts into life again with the number 99 on it. Would you like to make your demand?
Holy shit! Yes, yes, I do. I do. I have proven my worth. It's absolutely incredible. But I don't give a fork about any wrestler in this. With anyone in this competition. There's only one who I want to fight in my knife, and that is the incredible and amazing Maxwell. I feel this has to happen. Spoon, otherwise there's no point. But what's prong with this demand?
Okay, so the shape of a quantum wave appears once again, and the wave moves to the sound of this robotic voice. Fork, win your 100th match, and you will be granted a chance in the ring with the immortal Maxwell. And then the screen shuts off. Making their way to the ring, hailing from the four corners of the earth, forewarning! Striding down the ramp now is a huge, huge even for a robot, chrome steel giant wearing a sort of a red metallic cape made out of some kind of almost metallic fabric. Their head is almost entirely smooth, like chrome smooth, except for a red metallic mohawk sticking out the top. They step down, and then as soon as they reach the bottom of the ramp, shake off this metallic cloak which clanks to the ground behind them, and bring out two huge metallic arms. And then cross these arms in front of them, and you hear whirring and movement from the body, and then as the arms stretch out, two more burst out from behind, and this four-armed giant starts shaking its fist at you in this kind of this fist kind of sort of swiveling on the wrists, and the arms are sort of swiveling on the elbows, and there's just this sort of flurry of smooth four-armed motion. It's just moving around this thing's body. It throws all four arms into the air, looks up into the high vaulted ceiling of the circle squared, and then drops them to its side. The two arms at the bottom fold, and the top left arm reaches out, gestures towards you, and then ding 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 ding, the bell goes.
Okay, so I just want to put my fork straight round one arm and then just tilt it and snap it off.
Ooh, roll on power, see how well you do.
Why? It's a robot. It's not like I'm doing the blood and the pus again. It is a 7 + 2, so that's 9.
Amazing. Your forklift shoots in quick as a flash, clamps around one of the arms, twists it. You hear a clank and a fizz and a tear, and it just drops limp to the side, lifeless. Yeah. At that point, I'd like you to make a roll on work for me.
Oh, well, that's no fun. 5.
5. Its other arm, other arm from the bottom set of arms, swings round and grabs your robot around the waist. Its head rears back. You can see these sort of layered pistons in its neck stretch out as it moves back almost about 90 degrees, and then the head swings forward with Forewarning's signature 4 headbutt, and crack! This metal skull connects with yours, causing you to stagger back as actually, no, not even stagger back. Forewarning is keeping a grip around your body with its arm and leans its head back again for another crack. What are you doing?
I quickly try and tilt over slightly to pick up the arm that I've just ripped off to put it on top of my head like a little helmet.
So it's currently limp and unfunctioning at the side, but it's not actually off the body yet. It's just hanging, unworking on the side.
Can I flop it over my head?
Yeah, you can still do that. You can roll on. So I guess roll on look for that because it's cosmetic.
Cool. Sure. All right. Okay. That's the 2.
That's the 2. Yeah, I would say you successfully managed to move the arm over your head, but it just flops down again. Hold on, is that a snake eyes, or is that a modified 2 or a snake eyes?
No, it's a modified 2.
Okay, cool. And the arm just simply flops down again, and the arm that is gripped around your body takes a tighter hold against your waist, and the 2 upper arms grab each of the arms by the wrist and start to pull the arms of the fork out and up. I forecast pain in your future. And just starts tugging and tugging. Okay, so I didn't get that. I forecast pain in your future. Just starts tugging.
I heard it.
Yeah, I just thought, just for people in the back seats, you know.
Yeah, it's all right. All your puns are going to get the same reaction, babe. It's fine.
And yeah, just starts tugging and tugging and tugging on your arms. You feel, well, you don't feel, but you can sense on the readouts on your screen, these warning signs as the connections between the robot's body and the robot's arms are starting to get damaged. And it's just tugging, tugging, tugging. What are you doing?
I am going to kick my legs out and drop onto my bum, attempting to roll this robot over me.
Let's work.
Your work.
Fair.
8.
8. Fantastic. Yeah, you managed to take advantage of the momentum of the fact that with its upper arms working, one of its bottom arms not. There is actually more force and more force and more momentum on the upper part of the body, which you can manipulate to slide yourself underneath Forewarning and get Forewarning onto the floor. Briefly, what are you doing?
And so Forewarning's gone over and is onto the floor. Have they rolled over from me? That's what I was trying to do. Like, are they rolled off me, or are they still holding on to me?
So I would say Forewarning is currently on its back on the ground, but still holding onto the torso of your robot with its right arm. So you're in control. You're basically, if this is MMA, you're basically mounting them right now.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fork hands into the ground, and I'm going to lift myself up as much as possible to slam my body back down into them.
Okay, that's a power roll for sure.
Sweet! Fuck yeah! Fuck! Oh, no. 7!
What? 7. Okay, yeah, fantastic. You rear back, you slam your body and your forearms back into Forewarning. That's enough to get its arm to let go of you. It is now, Forewarning is still lying on the mat. You are completely free and completely released at this point.
Okay, cool. At this point, then, I get back onto my feet, and I'm just going to drop down, body slam them again.
That is another power roll. I'm leaning on power there.
Fucking love power. Wait. 4, 6.
6. So as you go in for the body slam, quick as a flash, Forewarning sits upright, gets to one of its knees, and grabs you once again with all 4 of its arms. You fought the 4, but the 4 won. And once this time sort of maneuvers you around off your body slam, gets two arms on your upper arms again, another arm wrapped around your legs, and basically it's like a surfboard stretch, but it can do it standing because it's got 4 arms, and puts you into its signature submission move, the Forture Rack, and just starts bending you backwards once again. You can roll on. Yeah, what do you want to do? You're being currently stretched and pulled again. Your senses are reading out danger again. All the points where you're limbs are connecting.
Which way am I facing? Away from them?
You're facing away from them.
I want to turn on my fucking electric saw. Just in their face, I assume.
Yes, absolutely. They can roll on. Let's say roll on look for that electric saw.
Oh, look sucks balls. Wait. 7.
Hey.
7. That is just enough. So that you're being pulled like closer and closer and closer and closer. At this point, kind of, I guess, because you're resisting so much initially. Forewarning is piling on the pressure to get you as close as possible, and then, like at the last moment, you just release that pressure, get pulled incredibly close, and turn on that buzzsaw, and it just starts cutting straight through the center of Forewarning's chest. There sort of sparks and bits of wire and metal like burst out from it. The blade sort of crosses straight across the center of its skull, and its head sort of starts to split in two, and you are free. You are free from the torture rack.
Oh, amazing. I've only got like a few seconds left of this saw running, so I'm going to just, as I'm dropped, I'm on my feet, and I'm just going to back more into them and attempt to do more damage while I'm there.
That's another look roll. If you're doing the saw again.
I regret the saw. Oh, that's 11.
That's 11. Yeah, the saw sort of picks up speed now. It sort of its RPM doubles, and this sort of metallic whine rings out throughout the whole stadium, like rings in your ears as well through like your headphones, and then you just hear this horrible horrible sort of crunching sound as it just buries itself deep within the body of Forewarning. Its voice seems to be crying out in some kind of robotic pain initially, but then that sort of fades. You see the light, these little red LEDs in its skull start to go out, and just as it collapses prone to the ground, just before it shuts down, one last thing. I guess you found the winning formula. And then a second that happens, and the second Forewarning shuts down, the 99 on the Futuretron bursts into a 100. Woo! And yeah, the crowd goes wild. The synthetic crowd goes wild. And then the 100 turns back into that quantum wave again. Congratulations, Fork, on your 100th victory. You have won your chance against the immortal Maxwell. You have a moment in the ring. Do you want to flex? Do you want to do anything?
I'm going to put my fork fingers up and be like, hashtag the fork, because I'm cool.
Ooh, okay.
How we all communicate.
Let's get that trending. Let's get that trending. Okay. Brilliant. And then the screens linger on the fork for a moment, and then once again cut somewhere else. As the fork leaves the stage, the Futuretron snaps back into life. And Ollie, can you please take us through the title sequence we are about to watch?
Nailed it.
Dun 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 dun. There are sort of 90s style graphics appearing on the big screen in a sort of really quite dated, even more so in the year 3000, intro sequence to what seems to be a daytime high concept TV show, episodic TV series. And the voiceover goes, one day, while fighting to protect 90s America from the evil mastermind Red Scare, Rick Thunder and his trusty wingman Tim Quick pursued a hostile aircraft to the Bermuda Triangle, where Thunder and his Danger Zone jet flew into a space-time anomaly, transporting him to the year 3000. Now, stuck in the future and out of time, Rick and his new best friend, his own sentient jet, now called Danger Zone, wrestle to find a way back home.
Oh my god.
And Rick is in the sort of like the overseen area where he is protected behind some glass, and he commands his Danger Zone jet, sentient jet, who's his best friend, like a Pokemon. So Danger Zone the jet
who looks like a jet, but is also a robot, kind of like a transformer. He's in the ring now. Go get him, you son of a bitch.
I do not like this red scare.
From a different time. Stuff wasn't racist back then.
And Laurie, can you please tell us how Mass Maxwell enters the ring?
Sure thing. East Sussex surf rock starts to play over the speakers. We cut backstage as two sort of little droids walking along with a little briefcase. They're both wearing, or both been painted, should I say, to have the logo Mass Hysteria emblazoned upon them. As they go down this line, they pass a cutout of the immortal Mass Maxwell. They pass a older looking version of this robot that is painted red, white and blue, big feather boa, but clearly scarred from battle. They pass a black version with NWD scrawled across the chest. They get to one that is pristine looking. Its chest cavity snaps open and they open the briefcase and they take out this black box, almost like a sort of audio recording device, and they plug it into the chest of this robot that is just hanging there, white-tipped window wipers underneath its eyes that are sort of dead. And then suddenly, as this box connects and goes in, there's a flicker, and it powers up. It rips off the chest cavity that says Mass Hysteria on it to reveal another chest cavity that also says Mass Hysteria. It walks out onto stage to the East Sussex Surf Rock, playing to the crowd that isn't there, just sort of out of memory. It's almost like a legacy thing, and gets to the ring and starts to listen for the crowd. A listening device pops out of its ear, and on the other ear pops out a speaker to play the crowd sound from people at home to its opponent.
Okay, as you two square off in the ring, as the immortal Mass Maxwell squares off against the kind of towering figure of a fighter jet, is there anything that you want to say, Mass?
Let me tell you something, Robo. What are you gonna do when mass panic runs wild on you? These 24-inch pistons are here to beat you into the ground.
That's it. That's all he wants to say.
And Rick, do you have any parting, any last words you want to say? Not parting, sorry. I think it'll be fine. Any last words you want to say to
chance management?
Slip of the bit. So I was just looking at Laurie and I immediately thought of a wrestler dying. But no, any pre-match words you want to pass on to?
So
Danger
I
Zone?
am channeling my voice through the Tannoy system, coming out of Danger Zone in the ring because I'm up there.
Amazing.
But I still take my glasses off to say, we need to get back home, and we're going to go through you to do it, because my name's Rick Thunder, and this is my sentient jet best friend, Danger Zone.
Ding, 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 ding. Mass, as the legend, Mass Maxwell, you start in control. What are you doing?
I'm running straight in with a clothesline.
That's a power roll.
Mm-hmm. 7.
7. That's enough to do it. Yeah, your beefy metallic arm connects with the fighter jet body of Danger Zone and sends him stumbling back to the other end of the circle squared.
Cool. Same again.
What are you doing?
Same again.
That's another power roll.
That one is also a 7.
Same thing. Exact same thing. Same move people had seen literally hundreds of thousands of times at this point. Boom, against the body of Danger Zone. Danger Zone pressed against the metallic ropes now.
Cool. I run to the other side. I hype the crowd up. I listen in, and I run back in for the third and final clothesline.
Okay, that's another power roll.
5.
Okay, Rick, you see him coming in for you see the clothesline connect once, connect twice. You know the pattern now. What are you saying to Danger Zone?
Figured it out. I say, Danger Zone, jump! Because he's a jet. And he so I want him to jump up in the air, and he's going to go pretty high. and he's probably going to do a flip while he's up there. I'm talking starting to flip at the top and then still flipping as he comes down because he is the high flyer. He's a literal jet, and he collides with Max.
So I'll let you roll on. I'll let you roll on look for that bit of aerial wizardry.
That's work. High flyer.
That's. But that's, to be fair, that is actually true to the gimmick sheet. That is a yeah, fine.
Thank
that's a work
you.
roll. But what's your lip, Davis?
We're going back home. Not only is it a +2, but it's a critical success.
Critical success.
And natty 12s.
Doing a 69.
Amazing.
Nice.
So first, take us through that aerial wizardry, and then take us through that collision course.
As Danger Zone has gone up in the air, and he's doing so many spins, Rick sees from the control area that, hey, Mass, it is Mass, isn't it? Mass Hysteria.
Mm-hmm. Mass Maxwell.
Hey, Mass Hysteria. He seems pretty actually old. And what's that in the middle of his chest that seems to be controlling everything? I think that might be his weakness. So we're going to go for our finishing move, which is the Danger Zone, because Mass Hysteria's right in it. He's in the drop zone, which is a Dragon Phoenix 1080 splash.
If you, by all means, go for your finisher. Roll those 2d6, no mods.
7.
7.
Oh.
Okay, you
It's a squash match.
So Danger Zone just starts barreling straight towards the prone body of Mass Maxwell, lying on the mat, arms akimbo, vulnerable. Time itself seems to slow down as you shoot through the sky. Can you tell us sort of what memories of the past are flooding through your brain at this point?
Just those very words. Time. Going through the sky. That's how I got here. That's how me and Danger Zone, my sentient jet best friend, became into existence in the year 3000. So I'm pining. I think this is the one, because we just need a few more wins. We just need a bit more money so we can go to Fairmont and ask him to work on this time traveling technology for us to get us home. This is our chance.
This is your chance, and as you are mere meters away from the body of Mass Maxwell, you start to hear a static crackle in your headset. You start to see a kind of electric spark spreading in little places across the body of Danger Zone. For a brief moment in your readout display and in the heads-up display in the cockpit of Danger Zone itself, a quantum wave appears very briefly and buzzes its shape across your readout. On a 10, at the last minute, Danger Zone feels its... What are those called with the handles on? Not a joystick. It was the 80s. It was a joystick. It was joystick control for jets in the 80s, wasn't it? Cool. Yeah, the joystick, seemingly of its own accord, veers backwards. And just at the last moment, Danger Zone pulls up away from Maxwell, up into the air, and lands cockpit and back first onto the mat, as prone as a jet can be. This electrical buzzing is just spreading across the body of Danger Zone at this point, and your controls are sort of sparking more static at you. You try to touch them, and you have to flinch back out of the way because of the pain. Maxwell.
Sorry, Robo. Maxwell's going over. And he gets to his feet. And this has activated the Maxwellian overdrive protocol. And he starts to G himself up, playing to a crowd that isn't there. You! And he runs the ropes. And he goes for the nuclear fusion leg drop, his finishing move.
Just straight 2d6 on that, Maxwell.
That's a 6. So I'm going to use a reroll because this is reliving my former glory. Maxwell always goes over. Oh, no. Hey, 10.
10. Take us through the nuclear fusion leg.
So the robot clunks across the ring, leaving huge footprints in its wake. It hits the ropes that bend and almost buckle as it pings itself back. It runs all the way using all this momentum to get to the downed danger zone and then just stops dead. Leaps into the air straight up, legs 90-degree angle, just whoop. And as they hit and collide with the jet on the floor, a series of small pyrotechnics fire off down the thigh and calf, causing more damage and scarring along the edge of your robot. And then Maxwell's going to go for the pin.
You hit your finisher, you succeeded. That pin is in. You find whatever part of a jet you can that feels like a leg.
I'm pulling the tail over.
Try to track down the shoulders. Yeah. And then... boom, 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 ding, 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 ding. Your winner, the immortal Maxwell. And then as the, what was the protocol called again?
The Maxwellian Overdrive Protocol.
The Maxwellian Overdrive Protocol suddenly cuts out and you're back in control of your body again.
Okay. As quietly as possible, I want to lean into whatever I think is listening in this jet. And I just want to say, if you do ever go back in time, brother, stop me from becoming this. And then I get up and celebrate as if I haven't said anything.
Okay. Rick, the static starts to clear. The buzzing and the discharge is no longer sparking out of your control. You can see that these little lines of electricity have settled down on the body of Danger Zone, and you're back in communication with them. Beep boop, beep boop, boop, beep boop, boop.
Yeah, I know Danger Zone. I don't know what happened there.
Beep beep boop 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 beep beep.
He said what? He said if we go back in time, we should stop him becoming what he is?
Beep boop boop beep.
I feel sorry for him too. Danger Zone.
Beep boop. Beep boop boop beep boop boop.
We'll get it next time. I don't know what that was either, but something malfunctioned. We had it won. If my name isn't Rick Thunder, and you're my best friend, Sentient Jet Danger Zone. Dun, 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 dun. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Hey!
And as the credits music of Rick Thunder fades out, Danger Zone rights himself and sort of takes up into the vaulted ceiling, out of the circle squared. And as he does, and as that last little bit of electric blue static sparks, for a brief moment, a pulse of kind of deep purple orange, almost like a plasma, just emanates from the back of the jet engines, but then is gone in a moment, and Danger Zone flies off. We cut to a control room. We cut to a remote control room where the operator of the Kremlin Crusader, a young Alexei Tetris, sits as he is sitting in front of a buffering screen, a loading screen, waiting to hear back from the voice of the quantum computer. And as he does so, his mind casts back to the last time he saw someone he loves very much, and the very last moments of their life. Luke, can you tell us where we are right now in your memory?
So we are back in Mother Russia, in Moscow, my home. I'm tending to my mother, Lydia, who is unfortunately lying on her deathbed, which is just her bed. And I'm going to the kitchen to sort of like get some water, and I come back and I'm like, Mother, you need to drink. You need to drink the water. And obviously in Russian. And
you've got those little angular brackets that you get in comics whenever people are speaking a different language.
And it's she's just sort of batting it away. She does not want this water. And I sort of sigh and recline. I look up to the wall where she has got newspaper clippings, and they talk about her work in robotics and her work in sort of the science field. And I glance over to another set of clippings that have got blueprints for the F-chip, or as it was called then, the Tetrip. Hey? And I look to those, and I look to my mother, Lydia, as she takes her dying breath. I look at the blueprints, say, I will not only avenge you, mother, I will also restore honor to our family name that was stolen from us and our flawless accents. I will build the Tetrip. I will not only avenge you, Mother Lydia, I will restore honor to the family name that was stolen from us. I will build the Tetrip, and I will go to CBW.
A look of pride and love and deep affection spreads across the face of your mother, and she breathes one last gentle breath and closes her eyes forever.
Drink.
You now are back in the present day. And not only are you waiting in front of a loading screen, but of course, so is Piston Fairmont, waiting in front of a loading screen and a very stern-looking photo of his dad frowning at him. All of a sudden, both your screens burst into the familiar burst. All of a sudden, your screens switch from the loading bar into the familiar shape of the quantum wave. State your dispute. Piston Fairmont, defend yourself.
My dispute is that I was wrestling a perfectly good match when I was suddenly attacked by this foreign menace. I don't know if you can tell, but his accent, I believe, is some form of Canadian. And I will not have my image, my brand, my father's name dragged into the mutt. The mud. The mud is mostly dogs in the future. But I will not have it dragged through the mud by you. I demand satisfaction. I demand a match against this Kremlin goblin.
Interloper, defend yourself.
You may call me Alexei, because that is my name. I accept your challenge to match, and I will expose you, Fairmont, for the fraud that you are, and how you stole this technology from my family. I will restore honor to my name, and I will use this technology for the good that it should be.
Piston Fairmont, state your stipulation.
You see, Lexi, I know exactly where this came from, and I don't care. So, my stipulation is this, or the history books are a malleable mainframe of information. I put your legacy against mine. If I win, let's start with you. If you win, I will personally authorize the history books to be changed to say that this is forever known as the Tetrip. Your family will go down in history as the greatest engineers to have ever lived. However, if I win, not only does this remain the F-chip, not only do you abandon all hopes of a legacy, but your family will go down in the history books as the world's worst murderers.
Murderers?
History is written by the victor. I will tarnish your legacy forever, and your name will be synonymous with nothing more than misery, embarrassment, and failure.
Interloper, do you accept these terms?
Crimea River, dickface. I accept your terms.
The match is set. And the quantum wave cuts out of the screen. We cut now back to the circle squared, and these two circular shafts of light erupt from two separate places at either end of the arena. Two circular platforms turn, revealing these elevator chasms, and from these two platforms are lifted up the robotic bodies of a newly restored and repaired billionaire playbot and a with all your stats restored as well, Adam, and a really gnarly but cool looking junky Kremlin Crusader. The following match is scheduled for one legacy.
One legacy.
Legacy. Rolls off the tongue.
Making their way to the ring, hailing from New Surrey, the billionaire Playbot.
Lots of smaller, incredibly attractive robots come out, each of them armed with a magnum of champagne. They all shake them up, and a huge kind of torrent of champagne just spews out and everywhere, and out up through this geyser, sort of like elevated on this kind of moving platform of suds, is the billionaire Playbot. He's been completely rejuvenated since you last saw him. In fact, he's made even leaner, even sleeker, even, dare I say, sexier. He's got even kind of like he's got a streak of gold in his real hair, harvested from real orphans, and he lands in front of the world, and he clicks his fingers, and behind him all of the robots kind of stand on each other's shoulders and unfurl a huge banner saying, "Don't listen to Ten Trips, they're history's greatest murderers."
Amazing. Making their way to the ring, hailing from Moscow, Russia, the Kremlin Crusader.
No pomp, no circumstance. The Kremlin Crusader walks out to the stage, accompanied by Hammer, Sickle, and Red Star. He nods to his three compatriots. They just hop back into each other and hop back into him. And he just walks to the ring, full of purpose. The TV screen showing images of how the Fairmont or the Fairmont Industries is a lie, and how they've stolen this technology. So do not believe their lies. And she steps into the ring.
I mean, who are you going to believe? Us or history's greatest murderers?
We're going to start with the Golden Boy in control. Ding, ding, ding.
Where are Hammer, Sickle, and Red Star?
I'm not telling you. They're stored away inside.
Oh, okay. I thought they were towards
No, they're Russian dolls.
In which case, understood. So what I will do first of all, straight away, is I'm immediately going to go for the Chateau Lafiste 1869, just straight at your chest.
Grand, we decided that was a look roll last time because it's so posh.
Certainly. That is +1. That is a 7.
That's enough. Yeah, the fist rockets out. Clong, did you say, what part of the body are you aiming for again?
Oh, the chest.
The chest. Plung straight into the chest, and a few cracks start to appear in the old metal that makes up the body of this robot.
I reach my robot's hands into the cracks. I want to pull his chest apart and rip out his Russian dolls.
That is easily a power roll for that.
Okay, my power roll is... my power's -1. Poo. Poo and butt. Oh, that'll do it. 7.
So yeah, you manage to get those pristine hands in there. You hear sort of the wrenching and cracking of old brittle metal as this cavity opens up in the chest of the Kremlin Crusader, and you see, the first body you see, of course, is Hammer, the largest of the three robots, sitting there in this little chest cavity. The chest is open. What are you doing?
I want to crush all 3 Russian dolls.
So I'm going to say that is a power roll again.
Yeah,
because
power.
you're purely
Power.
crushing stuff.
All right.
See you, Russian dolls.
Fuck your dolls, mate.
This incredibly expensive one wouldn't think a robot hand could be manicured, but this one is. Closes around the body of Hammer and therefore the bodies of Sickle and Red Star, and squeezes and squeezes and squeezes and squeezes. There is a pop and a crackle and a release of a high-pitched, I guess, kind of squeak of electrical friction that almost sounds like a tiny scream as these three robots are almost instantaneously compacted into a misshapen ball.
I would like to lean in to the Kremlin Crusader and say, that's what the F-chip can do. I'm Piston Fairmont. Who the fuck are you?
Luke, we're going to give you a chance to... Alexei, we're going to give you a chance to respond to this.
I am Alexei Tetris, son of Lydia Tetris, the creator of that chip. And I use the arm that is a helicopter, but because I am powered by an MiG-28 fighter jet sort of like inside, sort of like powering this robot, to turn the blades on and try and slice off the hands that he is currently crushing my Russian dolls with.
Okay, I'll let you go and work for that because it's precision based.
Because it's part of my robots.
Tell you what, because I'm already headed up the hill with people questioning these decisions. I'm going to roll a dice. If it's 1 to 3, I'm going to let you do it on look. If it's 4 to 6, you're going to have to do it on work.
You got told by Dad.
I was going to say, Dad's home.
Arguably, your brother in this case, Ollie, has already wound me up a lot, and I'm taking it out on you.
He was much nicer.
That is a
okay,
4.
that's fine. It's okay. I respect your decision, Booker man.
Roll on work.
It is a 5.
So 5. The blades start to spin and spin and spin. But these are old junkyard blades, and this is an expensive, pristine. The most expensive metal money can buy, or at least the toughest metal money can buy, is used to make the chassis and the plating of the billionaire Playbot, and the blades just bend and twist and misshape as they try to collide with it.
What can I say? Inferior technology.
Because of that, because you used that moment to gloat and be a prick, we are going to let Alexei take another shot at something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love how you're playing this monster, but I think you took the time to gloat rather than the opportunity to do something. So we're going to let Alexei do something else.
I regret.
How's this for technology? I'm going to punch you in your Chernobyl, and I'm going to try and kick him in the dick.
Right.
That is just going to be a power roll for a straightforward hoof in the dick.
And that is a 9 minus 2 is 7.
7, just. And what's your kicking leg made out of?
It is.
What's your dick kicking leg?
It is made out of a battleship.
Well, you just sunk his battleship as it connects beautifully with the groin of the billionaire Playbot, causing it to cross its legs in cartoonish agony. Yeah, the two little like glowing LED lights just sort of go cross-eyed for a second, and the Playbot drops to its knees. We're going to give you one more chance to do something at this point.
I'm then going to go for the vodka revolution. My top half just starts spinning around with my arms outstretched to try and clobber him in his beautiful and overly privileged face.
What did we give you to roll for that last time?
Power last time, I believe.
You're an honest man, Luke, and I love you. Roll on power.
Oh, that is... oh, no, it's not. I've rolled a 7, but that means it's 5.
So once again, you go back to the vodka revolution. You start spinning around on the axis that is like the lumbar part of your robot's torso. But once again, this is an upgraded. This is a sleeker, tougher, meaner version of the billionaire Playbot. And just like the metal of your blades bend, so does the metal of your fist. It's like bang, bang, bang. Every time it clocks the jaw of the billionaire playbot, a bigger dent appears in your fist than does on the shit-eating grin of this beautiful, beautiful piece of machinery. We're going to let you respond now, Piston.
Hey, I lean in and say, Lexi, you're living in the past. Allow me to introduce you to the future. I stick my hands inside his robot and I begin to pump it with molten palladium. I'm going for my finisher, the wealth grab.
You know what to do. That's a straight 2d6, you monster.
Why don't I use any of my rerolls?
That's a good point, Luke.
That is a 4. So what I would like to do is I would like to re-roll and think of the future. I would like to picture my father. I would like to picture my children, which I've yet to have because marriage, but I picture the legacy, the dynasty of the Fairmonts stretching into the future. I see statues being raised in our names. I see F-chips for every wealthy man, woman, and child. And I see a new era of robotics carved out in my image.
Fail.
Oh, snake eyes!
Shit, son. So once again,
I'm gonna take that and see what happens.
you reach these manicured robot hands into the cavity where the crushed bodies of Hammer, Sickle, and Red Star lie. Just another few little people who you've crushed on your way to the top, and the liquid palladium starts pumping out of these valves and the store inside your body pumps into the cavity, sealing in a horrible little coffin of molten palladium the bodies of these 3 tiny robots. But once again, you moved out of your field of expertise. You are maybe the most brilliant roboticist on the planet, but you are no metallurgist. Like, you, old-fashioned technology, old-fashioned blacksmithing, smelting in metals, that's laborer's work. That's the kind of thing where you get your hands really dirty, and that's something you never really could accept that you were not good at. And once again, as this cavity fills, and as you come across, I mean, the body of a modern robot, the body of a contemporary battle robot is it is beautifully and perfectly designed most of the time. You know how these things work. You know exactly where this liquid palladium will flow if this is going to work. But you don't know any of these machines. These are bits of junk from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And there isn't really anywhere in these densely packed, efficient Russian bits of tech for this palladium to go. And once again, it flows back and back and back. On a critical fail, it flows back across, covering your hands, covering your entire hands of your robot, back across the body, back across the arms, up around the chest, down across the legs, down to the feet. What physical motion are you trying to do in your last moments of movement here?
I'm trying to extend my fingers into a dual bird.
I'm gonna let you roll and look to see if you can achieve that just before.
That is a 7.
Just as the audiences across the planet can hear that groaning sound and that hissing of molten metal cooling, you just get these 2 robo-birds flipped before you seize up completely. And there you stand. There stands the billionaire playbot, the most expensive, most sophisticated robot in the history of cyber battle wars, designed by the most brilliant roboticist alive today, maybe alive together, but a roboticist who squandered his gifts. And as you sit there in your control room, looking at the frowning framed photo of your dad, you look at the circle squared, and what you see is a solid palladium statue to failure. And you know exactly. In fact, I'll just leave it on that. I'll leave it on failure. Alexei, ding, 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 your winner, the Kremlin Crusader.
Honor has been restored. So I sort of pop up onto the screen of Fiston. Pheromons, you are a brilliant man. You are a brilliant roboticist. And I do not hate you. I do, however, hate what you have done to the Tetrip. I hate what you have used it for. I would like to go into business with you. Together, we could build a better world with this technology. What do you say?
I look down at the frowning face of my father, and I say, no deal. You want the Tetrip to be yours? It's all yours, and all the failures that will come with it. And I storm out.
Okay, we find ourselves in the hangars of Cyber Battle Wars, where all the robots are kept in between matches. Most of them are shut down, waiting in stasis or in standby or in power saving mode for their next call to the Circle Squared. But one is sitting down on the ground in a relaxed pose, and that robot is the hulking metal frame of the fighter jet Danger Zone. And approaching Danger Zone, 90s TV hero Rick Thunder.
Danger Zone, Rick Thunder. I've run the diagnostics and the tests. I don't know what happened out there. The only thing that I've seen in our past, in our journey together, that correlates with such a power outage is when we flew through that time-space anomaly over the Bermuda Triangle.
Beep boop, beep boop boop.
Yeah, it was the same. Yeah.
Beep boop beep boop boop. Beep 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 boop boop beep. Boop 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 boop.
I love you too, man.
Danger Zone reaches out a giant metallic robot hand to yours.
High five. High five. Freeze frame.
And on that freeze frame, all of a sudden, the purple electroplasmid crackle you saw from the thrusters at the back of Danger Zone starts to appear again. And throbs bigger. And then, boom! This huge explosion of purple plasma energy erupts throughout the hangar, and about 50 feet away from you, you see a tiny black sphere start to get bigger and bigger and bigger until it swells into some kind of time-space cavity, crackling with plasmid energy. The black sphere brightens in the center, and a light, a kind of cosmic light, spreads out from the center. And then, stepping through it, the boyishly handsome, blonde, loyal wingman to Rick Thunder. It's none other than your friend, Tim Quick.
Tim Quick, my trusty wingman from the 90s hit TV series Danger Zone. You've come to rescue me. Finally, I can go home. Thank you, Tim Quick, with your boyish, beautiful good looks and definitely trustworthy face.
Rick Thunder. Or should I say, Rick Thunder.
Oh, he's Canadian.
I cannot tell you how sick I am of hearing the name Tim Quick. My name is Timotei Quicknev, and I am no friend of yours. The portal behind him grows wider and wider and wider now, and another leg steps through, a big, heavy, metallic leg, as a large, red, robotic MiG-28 Russian fighter jet steps out behind him. It has taken Red Scare and I decades to find you. Back home, Rick Thunder, you are hailed a hero. I hate you so much. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop.
I knew it! I knew it! All Russians are evil. I don't care what that Alexei guy says.
Great murderers. Horrible.
I thought I'd finished you off by sending you through to a uninhabitable year 3000, but no. You survived. You survived in the future, and your legacy survived in the past, immortalized as a hero.
Tim Quick, you were behind all of this. You pushed me into the future. You've separated me from my friends. I've been out for years.
The way I see it, I am simply finishing a job I started 1000 years ago. Killing Rick Thunder. And with that, he squats down, backflips into the air, and lands into the cockpit of Red Scare, who squares himself up and clang, 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 punches his two metallic fists together, and then gets into a battle stance.
Is it me now?
What would you like to do? Tell me what you're doing.
Danger Zone, I don't have much control over this. Danger Zone leaps in front of me, like the loyal sort of dog that he is. And that gives me time to run to the other, to run to a safe area, put on the headset, and start directing commands to Danger Zone. And the first thing we're going to do is jump up in the air into a fight pose and come down with a danger fist. It's going to be work. It's not going to be work, is it?
A fist is going to be power. Okay, so as you he sort of squares up, ready to battle you, and then Tim Quick sees you run off into the distance. Like, hey, Thunder, Kvit, Stalin.
Just when you think all the puns
and now roll
are
on.
done.
We would have exhausted all Russian puns by the end of this.
I mean, Luke has depleted my supply. But
sorry,
I've got some
mate.
stuff.
You're all monsters.
So yeah, you managed to get your headphones on, and yeah, roll on power for that Thunder Fist.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Please. Please.
Oh, please.
What is it?
Oh! There's so many snake eyes.
Red Scare. Thank you very much for being honourable with your rolls, guys. That's very decent of you. But yeah, Red Scare catches that fist in his huge red hand and squeezes down, and it bends Danger Zone's hand back and then forces him to his knees. You are always weak, capitalist dog. He shakes his fist at you and pushes you down further into the ground. What are you
Danger
doing?
Zone, quick, twirl out of it with your thrusters so you can spin from side to side and then go up in a sort of loop of 8 around him and kick him in the back.
Okay, that is a work roll for sure.
That is an 8.
Yeah, thrusters kick into gear, pirouetting like some kind of fighter jet ballet dancer. The fact that the ballet-esque moves are so good that even a Russian like Tim Quick has to pay attention. And you spin around behind the back of Danger Zone. Tim Quick is not quite used to controlling a sentient robot transformer jet quite yet. It takes a while to get his bearings. Yeah, Red Scare is on his knees. His back is to you.
Well, I would also think that Danger Zone is very unique in that he is an actual sentient robot who listens to my commands, whereas this just seems like your standard robot jet that doesn't have a brain of its own. It's all Tim Quick. So now I'm going to lift him up for an airplane spin, which where I get him on my shoulder, and much like Alexei's, what is it, the Russian roulette thing where it spins round, I'm just going to spin from Vodka Revolution. Sorry, going to spin from the waist, but it's unhinged, so I just go round and round and round and round.
Go for it. That's a work roll.
5. Oh no, with work it's 7.
Yeah. So 7, just enough. As this is you're used to wrestling WrestleBots who are typically smaller than Danger Zone. Danger Zone being a fighter jet is bigger than your average WrestleBot. This is more weight than you're used to, but after a bit of wobble, a bit of balance, you manage to you start spinning into this thing. And as for a moment, Tim thinks you're going to sort of let go of him, but you hold on fast. He goes, Rick Thunder, I see you got your bearings straight. And then the spin starts.
Yeah. So then I'm gonna put them down, and they're really disorientated, especially Tim Quick inside. But then I spy out the corner of my eye. Rick Thunder spies out the corner of his eye that the time portal is still open.
The time portal is still open.
And through it, I can see various flashes of the life I want to get back to, including Series 1 love interest, Julie Lovely. And I see her at home just washing plates and looking forlorn. And that you know, just the pang of my heart. And I'm like, danger zone, let's go for it. So I start running towards the time portal to try and get back home.
This is, you have no stats, so this is going to be a straight. Are you just trying to get yourself through that portal right now?
Danger zone, because yeah, we'll both. I'm running towards it, and danger zone can come with me.
Okay, so first I'm going to need a work roll to get past Tim Quick and Red Scare.
That is an 11.
Yeah, that is an 11. Red Scare swings a big, heavy robot jet fist at you, but Danger Zone sort of leans back Matrix style and slides underneath it. And then, rights himself again as soon as he's over the fist and starts running towards the portal with you. So that roll got you past Red Scare. Now this next one is to be able to jump through.
12. Not natural, but 12.
Okay. You both run. You get both run towards the portal as quick as you can. You get there. It's shrinking. It's getting smaller and smaller, but it's still there. As you reach the portal, Tim Quick gets Red Scare back to his feet again, shakes his fist at you. Internet! He yells. However, on that critical fail you rolled earlier, there need to be some serious consequences. And the point where Red Scare broke the arm of, broke the hand and the wrist of Danger Zone and dropped him to the floor, you see that the strain of lifting a robot bigger than he's ever had to lift before, and the damage he took right at the start of the match it's more than you first realized. And taking a proper look at your best friend, he is in a very bad way.
You can do it. Come on, Danger Zone. Get through the time portal with me.
Beep, beep, boop. And he looks at his hand and looks at the damage that's on his knee. And the portal gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And you're no roboticist, but you've picked up a few things here in your time in the future. And you know this is serious damage. On a critical fail, this is really serious damage. You know it can be repaired. You know that there are people in the future who can repair Danger Zone, but you know that there is nobody in the past who can. And that portal is closing and closing and closing. You have a choice. You can return to your time, but if you do, Danger Zone is a goner. He reaches a big metal hand and just rests it very gently on the side of your shoulder, sort of like a bro grip over your collarbone. Beep, boop, beep. Rick Thunder. What are you doing, Rick?
I'm looking at Julie Lovely, waiting there. She doesn't know I can see her. She's hanging up washing now. And I look back at Danger Zone, and I put my hand on Danger Zone's robotic arm and stay there with him as the portal slowly closes for another episode.
Ooh. And nothing but silence. And with that, the light just dims in Danger Zone's eyes and he goes into power saving mode. No! You hear the frustrated scream of Tim Quick as the portal closes. He turns to you, points his finger at you. Next time, Rick Thunder. And then Red Scare shoots, blasts a hole in the wall, and flies off into the sky, leaving you stuck in the future with your best friend. We cut now to backstage. A huge room full of computers and servers and incredibly futuristic computational technology that is using things like wireless electricity, the kind of stuff that Tesla dreamed of, and almost kind of vacuum tube style old like amplifier technology to create this incredibly efficient form of computational power that allows brains beyond anything that we could even imagine in our time to perform. And in this huge room, right at the back, atop a large series of heavy metal-looking steps, sits a giant spherical computer screen. This is the heart of the quantum computer, the mind that does all the thinking for cyber battle wars. Approaching the quantum computer, the immortal Mass Maxwell, who has come to make that request he makes every single day, and that is never granted to him. And as he approaches the base of the steps, the quantum wave bursts into life. It glows red and yellow and then back to white. And it almost seems as if it's looking at you as a metallic voice chimes out, well.
QC, quantum computer. It was right under our noses the entire time. You bastard. Let me tell you something, Machine Gene. Mass hysteria has been running wild in this company for centuries now. It's time you let me hang it up. I've done my service. I've been the face. Lay me to rest.
Why?
Because despite all of this, despite everything else, Robo, I'm a man on the inside. I'm not like these other ones. I wasn't built in a workshop. I was born and bred in a different type of iron paradise, the gym, hanging and banging, building, working on my bod. But I am ready now to finally hang up my boots.
Maxwell. You are the immortal face of cyber battle wars. You will wrestle when we tell you to wrestle. And a little sort of spark of pain jolted through you as a result of the what's its name again? Sorry.
Oh, the
overdrive
Maxwellian overdrive protocol.
Maxwellian, that's it. The Maxwellian overdrive. You get a little spark of pain, a little spark of corrective pain jolts through your body. You will wrestle when we tell you to wrestle, and we tell you to wrestle forever. Now, Maxwell, you have a match. And the quantum wave cuts out, and you're left in an empty room.
I'm going to attempt to pry the chest cavity open in order to get at the black box.
Okay, make a... Ooh. To get your chest cavity open, let's have a contested 2d6 roll, actually, to see if cyber management allows you to do this.
9.
Yeah, you managed to get your hands in, and it's a huge strain. You are the face of the company. So much of management's money is put in towards making you look strong, making you be strong, making sure you always get over no matter the cost. And part of that is giving you a wrestling body that can stand up to the high tech power-based wrestlers, even when your style is still so old school. But with this huge sort of force of will, you manage to create just the smallest but perceptible crack in your chest cavity, and the tiny little gleam of the brilliant blue light at the center of that black box can be seen before the Maxwellian overdrive protocol kicks in, and you find yourself being marched to the top of the ramp. Making their way to the stage, hailing from 500 years ago, Sussex, the immortal Maxwell!
East Sussex, surf rock. On the way, there's a sudden change. I walk out of that room, having spoken to QC, the quantum computer, forlorn, down. And then I realise what I'm going to do. I realise what I need to do. And as I'm walking, my step becomes, it's almost like the end of The Usual Suspects. My gait changes completely, and I'm once again the immortal Maxwell that everyone's used to seeing. I pick up a feather boa. I replace a chest cavity that says mass hysteria. And when I burst onto the ramp, I rip that open. I rip open all the signs that say mass hysteria that they've put on the ramps as well to reveal more signs that say mass hysteria. I'm playing crowd sounds myself through speakers that are mounted on my shoulders, and I make my way down to the ring.
Is there anything you want to say as you stand in the center of the ring
sure.
alone?
Boy, mass hysteria is running wild, robos. Let me tell you, once again, my demandments. You've got to download your training patch, conjoin your consciousness with the master program at the center of the internet, and eat your vitamins, because we don't go outside enough anymore. But another thing that I want to tell you is you want to become like me, because I am immortal. I am the immortal face of this company, and I will be so long as this black box beats in my chest.
And the synthetic sounds of an artificial audience scream at the man they love more than anyone else in Cyber Battle Wars. Making their way to the stage, hailing from the University of Kent, the Fork!
I am actually walking down the ramp to just like some casual rock music. I'm not going too big because I am Maxwell's biggest fan, and I'm just happy to be here. I've actually, in fact, what I've done is I've plastered the poster that was in my workshop onto the front of my robot. So there's little mass hysteria on the front of my robot. I'm just like, yay! But also a lot more like muscular than that. Yeah! And then I literally just my robot just runs and skips into the ring with just absolute joy, and then it's just like, hi.
So, you have the ability to project a video image from the room you're remote controlling this robot from to Maxwell. If there's any words you want to say to your hero at this point.
You are truly, truly unforgettable. I'm a huge fan of yours, and it's really, really, really a whisk come true to be in front of you. So thank you.
So, considering A, he is the immortal face of the company, and B, you are starstruck right now, we will start the match with Mass in control. Ding, 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 ding!
Mass coming right out the gate with clothesline.
That's a power roll.
10.
That'll do it. Boom! Your heavy metallic arm knocks the fork to the ground, and the crowd goes wild.
I just get in his face and I say, "You're a fan of the immortal Maxwell, are you, Robo?" And I go for a elbow drop.
An elbow drop is going to be... That's pretty much power, I guess, for elbow drop.
Yep. Sorry, I've lost the dice. Don't worry, I've got spares. 12, not natural.
Just in case you're... yeah, the beautiful elbow drop. In fact, because on that 12, do you want to give a little flourish?
Yeah, it's just a... straight down. Kiss the fist, drop straight down. And as I land, I roll what looks like a cover. And I'm going to let it count, but I want to do something. So as I do that, I just say, having said you're a fan of the immortal Mass Maxwell, that man died a long time ago. And then I pull the cover off. So it lets the count happen, but I try to make it look like she's kicked out or the robot's kicked out.
Okay, you're in control now. Fork, what are you doing?
I'm in absolute shock. And as I see Maxwell on the floor, I see that they've got this weird blue light gleaming from their chest. And there's something weird that impulses me to try and stick my fork into it to pry it open.
Okay, you can make a... Oh, that's pretty precise. It's a tiny crack. Make a work roll.
It's a tiny crack. Well...
Keeping it classy.
Hang on, what is my work? 0. So that is a 9.
A 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, your fork shoots into the crack. You sort of expand your forklifts a little bit and you hear a creak and a groan. And yeah, you manage to make that little crack open, maybe just another inch. The metal you're pushing against is so incredibly strong. But yeah, you can now see clearly inside. You can make out this little blue glowing light and you recognize it from the endless amount of ring entrances you've seen of the immortal Mass Maxwell. This is that little device that is put into every Mass Maxwell body when he enters. Cool. What are you both doing? Either of you can act at this point.
Oh, well, I see the glowing light. I know what it is, and I know that I'm so inspired by this incredible soul that is existing inside this creature that I also want to pummel him to the ground. So I run against the ropes, and then I get that lovely bit of extra strength, and I go for a clothesline like he did on me.
Classic Mass Maxwell clothesline. Roll on power.
9. Oh, hang on, no, power. Ooh. 11.
Clothesline is such an old school wrestling move, It's something in this flashy world of invisible robots and sentient fighter jets, and tiny, consecutively smaller Russian dolls. You don't see a lot of good old fashioned wrestling moves. But Mass, as you see this clothesline swinging to you, this is a better clothesline than you have done yourself in years. And boom, it knocks you to the mat. Pow! Straight against it. And you're still in control here, Fork.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm gonna replicate what he's done because it's amazing and incredible. I'm gonna go for for an elbow drop.
Go for it. That's another... We gave you power, didn't we, for that?
Yeah. That's a 6 plus 2.
Can
8.
I try to move myself as this is coming down?
Yes, I think we say you can.
Can I move myself so it connects better?
You're gonna... Yes, you can. So, okay, let me figure out how we're going to do this. So you're going to need to roll on work. If you can roll a better work than the Fork's 8 power roll, then yes, it connects better.
Only 6.
Oh.
That's a 6. You try to move out of the way. You just get yourself into an awkward position and you sort of cause the Fork to kind of botch that elbow. And the crowd just starts booing a little bit at a really sloppy execution of what is an iconic move that belongs to you. So yeah, right now we have the Fork sort of on the ground from a botched elbow drop. We have, Maxwell kind of tumbled up in that jumble mess. And right now we're just looking at some rather bad wrestling. What are you both doing?
Can I try to lift the Fork up and push?
Yes, you can. And
back
you can
the robot into a corner.
Go for it. Roll on power.
It's not gone well. 7 plus 2 power. Delicious.
7. Just about. You push against, you lift up and push against the Fork. You feel a lot of sort of physical strength pushing back against you. Maybe more strength than you have yourself, but your experience and your technique is enough to get you to drive them back against the ropes. And you are now, you sort of pick them up and you are carrying and pushing the body of the Fork against the ropes.
I'm going to say, destroy the box, Robo. Save me from this. And then I'm going to turn to the where I assume the driver's area is, being able to watch this and say, "Do you hear me?"
I am so in shock.
If she's not moving, I'm going to. Okay. Well, if
Yeah,
you're
she's
not,
in
if you're not
shock.
moving,
Oh.
I'm going to assume that I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to put you onto the top rope, and I'm going to do a superplex to the floor in an attempt to cause as much damage to both of us as possible.
Okay, roll on for a superplex. Roll on power for that.
That is 10.
You pick up the body of the fork, currently in shock at this really confusing message coming from their idol. Beautiful superplex off the rope. You both collide with the mat, collide with each other. There's a grind and a crack and a crunch of metal. And you look down at your chest. You see sparks and damage and cracks and broken bits of metal coming off the body of the fork. You see your own chest cavity is split open a little bit more, and you can almost make out one of the corners of the box at this point. Fork, what are you doing?
I am gonna crawl over and through the microphone in the robot ask, "Are you sure about this?"
The thing about legends is they have an end.
Okay. I tell you to just go with me. And we struggle to our feet in what looks like a power struggle of delicious metal-y wrestling. I whisper into your get into the corner, and I swing and throw you into the corner. And then I turn on my electric saw and back up into you.
Okay, so we're going to give you a look roll for this.
Okay. -2. It's an 8 -2, so it's a 6. What's my reroll?
You have your face reroll for standing up for what you believe in, and then you have your gimmick reroll, which is for going old school.
It's standing up for what I believe in, because I believe in a wrestler should be able to leave when they want, and he's obviously very unhappy, and that's not the point of wrestling.
Roll them bones. Roll them robo bones.
Come on, don't be shit.
Come on, Fork.
Oh no.
What you get?
Oh, guys! Oh, God!
I can't
So
die.
you flip mass into the turnbuckle. Fine. Kroom, straight into the turnbuckle. You turn around, you start up your buzzsaw, zzz, and you start to back up towards them, and then that's a 9. You start to feel or see these sparks of electricity move up and down your limbs and up across your body. You hear the high-pitched whine of your buzzsaw start to slow and slow and slow. You find yourself unable to control the body of the fork anymore. And you find the limbs stiffening, the legs stiffening, and then boom, you find yourself lying prone on the ground, unable to move as more sparks burst off yourself and more bits of metal start to smolder and burn under the heat of this kind of damage it's suffering. I'm so sorry, Mass. The overdrive is kicked in, and you find yourself being moved towards the prone body of the fork.
Echoes out in a voice that isn't necessarily my voice. Maybe a recording from the past. Mass is going to go for the nuclear fusion leg drop. He's going to fight against it at every step.
Okay, so bear in mind you do have your rerolls left for this match, I believe. Roll on power for the leg drop. Did we give you power or looks for the leg drop?
I think it was power.
I'm so hot. Okay,
cool. So that is a 8.
That'll do it. You go in again. Talk us through that leg drop.
Okay, so I run the ropes and power into it using all the momentum that I've built up. But obviously, I'm a robot. I don't need it. I stop. 2 little thrusters just out the back, me into the air with one quick burst. My legs pivot and swing straight up into, and then the thrusters on the back twist around again and fire me back down on top of the fork.
Kroom! This huge metallic, thunderous sound splits the metal even further on the prone and damaged body of the fork, who was being themselves overridden by cyber management, just to make sure, once again, as always, as he has done for over 500 years, that the immortal Mass Maxwell never dies, and the immortal Mass Maxwell always gets over. Lo, is there anything you'd like to say?
There is a crackling speaker that is in the robot begging you to stop because you don't know what's at risk.
What are you doing, Mass?
I am going to, in an attempt to circumvent my programming and fight against what's happening, I'm going to try to do something that they would want me to do that might be a bit underhand. I'm going to hit the leg drop again.
Go for it.
Okay.
Roll on power.
That is a 10.
That's a 10. Like, once again, same thing. It's Maxwell. Take us through the entire identity process again.
This
please.
this time is a little bit more at the beginning. I actually start to hype up the crowd before the leg drop, and then I run in and I hit it the exact same way I have hit it now for 500 years. Except at the top, I would like to attempt something. So at the peak,
What would you like to
the
attempt?
charges that were on my leg that fire off the pyrotechnics that scorch my opponents, I'd like to try to pop one off in the process of hitting the leg drop and try to hold it over my chest as I land.
Okay, you're going to have to make a... Okay, to get one popped off, first it's going to be a work roll just to pop the thruster off.
Oh, it's a 10.
Yeah, you managed to pop the thing off. And now, I'm going to need you to make a straight 2d6 roll.
I'm
What'd
going
you
to have
get?
to use a reroll, I reckon. I got a 4.
I got a 5. Just,
Can I argue, because my reroll was to relive my former glory, and I've realised over many years, 500 years, that part of your glory as a wrestler and a performer is losing sometimes so that you can make a comeback and so that people can be excited about you. Being there permanently, being there every single day doesn't make people excited for you. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
go for it. Roll those 2d6.
Oh,
Oh, no.
God.
Or you're not going to believe it.
What?
Natty 12s.
Okay. So, first off, Lo, I want you to make a power roll for me.
I don't know. Okay, power. That is a 11.
It's an 11.
Big.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, you can. Okay, first off, you connect with a leg drop. Another sickening, not sickening. This is robots. There's no goop here. Another very dry croom as the metal and metal collides, and more damage is done to the body of the fork. You rip off this thruster from your leg and hold it against the exposed black box. And I mean, you're a robot, you have no nerve endings, but you swear on some kind of metaphysical level you can feel something. And as the heat burns across your chest, and as the heat from your thrusters starts to genuinely damage the exterior of this black box, your mind is now cast back through the multitudinous stages of your career, and you find yourself focusing on your glory days where before you were part of this bells and whistles show of technical wizardry, you were a proper old school fighter and wrestler. One of the most beloved and one of the most respected in the history of professional wrestling. And as that memory fills your mind, you remember why you wanted to wrestle in the first place. Why was that, Mass Maxwell?
In the first place, I wanted to secure a future for myself and my family. I wanted to become a legend.
And is this how a legend goes out? Lo, on that 11, you, Mass, everybody at home, across the country, across the world, sees the smoking, damaged, broken beyond repair body of the fork.
Mm-hmm.
And Mass, you find yourself looking at it. You feel yourself fading. You hold that burning torch against your black box as the metal smelts and smokes. You could very well go out today. Is this the way you want to do it?
I've tried this thousands of times, and I've never come this far. I'm going all the way.
Lo, two things. First, is there anything you want to say as you see Mass doing this?
I want to help. And I think I know how.
On that 11, Lolo, tell us what we see emerging from the wreckage of the fork.
From the fork, you see one sheet of chest pop open and a very muscular, very burnt, very broken woman comes out from the machinery. She could never quite get away from not wanting to be in the ring with you. So she was inside the machine and is now broken. And one arm is kind of screwed and her neck is off. But she wants to help. And she's been studying engineering for years and she can see you're in pain. So with the burning in your chest is kicking up, I rip open my oil and the tubes and I pour it over you to create some kind of extra heat while I use what power is left in my saw to make sparks to get a fire up to heat and give you more heat to try and open it up as much as possible for you.
Mass, for the first... Oh, sorry. Carry on, Lo.
No, that's it.
Mass, for the first time in 500 years, you are looking into the eyes of a living, breathing, real-life wrestler. A human being who enters the ring themselves.
You've got crazy guts, kid.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think after all this time, brother, Mass is over. And I want to try and throw her as far away from the flames and the fire as possible.
Roll on power.
That is a 13.
Yeah, in a feat of it's a giant robot against a person. You fling the body of what is your name?
Danny.
Woman, Danny. You fling the body of Danny, the woman behind the fork, across the ring. They stumble into the ropes in the turnbuckle opposite side of where you are as the fires start to spread.
Just going to crawl to the other corner and keep that torch burning.
And you're just going to let these... Sorry, Lo?
No, go on.
I don't know if this... No, by all means, say something. You want to say something?
I'm
Or do something.
concerned that it's not going to be enough. This is like oil and fire on metal. It needs everything in its power to get right down to the core so that you can peacefully die, I guess. God, what's it with you and always wanting to die?
No, last time I didn't want to.
Anyway. But So I can see that you're just not going to be able to do it on your own. You're a wrestler. You're not a mechanic. I'm a mechanic. So I can do this. So I go back towards you and I get one of the forks off my hands. I release it and it's tattered, and I use it to pry open your cavity as much as possible to let the flames and the heat get in. My arms are burning, but I know that you need to do this and I need to let you do this. And so, yeah, I try and open the cavity further so that he can finally be consumed.
Can you make a real roll for me?
Real? -1.
Oh no.
That is 10.
10.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't count. And I was like, -1.
You sound like you rolled a critical fail.
I was like, she's gonna die.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you push this with your own bare hands now. Your arms are charred and burning. You can smell your own flesh cooking. It wouldn't be a Lola character if some flesh wasn't having something horrible done to it. You can smell your own flesh cooking. You're like these sort of really like meaty muscles on your arms bulge as you put your real human physical strength into this. And pry open the cavity further and further and further until finally you see the entire black box in its totality. A perfect cube of memory and legacy, reduced to a now barely visible pile of smoke and melted metal and the tiniest glimmering little light that is about to blink out. I want to hear your last words to Mass Maxwell.
Thank you.
And Mass, what is the very last thing you see before you finally granted the peace you want?
Thank you, kid. You've... For the first time in 500 years, I've seen someone who's got the stuff. The actual human stuff. You don't need machines. You don't need robots. Bring back wrestling.
I will.
Ooh. And the light finally fades. And Mass Maxwell finally rests. The shot now pans out and zooms out. And we see from an aerial view the smouldering, metal-strewn arena, the body of the greatest wrestler in history, shut down on the mat, and standing in the middle of the ring for the first time in 500 years, a living, breathing human wrestler. And as one legacy ends, does another begin. The crowd goes wild, but you listen and this doesn't quite sound like the normal synthetic crowd being pumped through the arena. All across the planet, the audience of the biggest and only wrestling promotion in the world scream in adulation and joy at what they see. A sound so deafening it reaches through the walls of the circle cubed and into your ears. True wrestling has returned to CBW.
Yeah. We solved robots.
Beautiful stuff,
Nice.
guys.
Thank you, everyone. We really hope you enjoyed that episode of No Rolls Barred set in cyber battle wars. But what other CBWs would you like to see us tackle in these one-shots? So we decided this one, however, on our Patreon, patreon.com/no-rolls-barred. Thank you, by the way, to these amazing legends for supporting us on Patreon. You should do that too, please. Because on that Patreon, we'll be putting up a poll very shortly with a list of alternate CBWs, and you get to decide where the next one-shot will take place. So in the meantime, please subscribe to partsFUNknown, because it's great. We've got Explained, we've got Bookings, we've got Quizlemania, and this wonderful channel. We really believe in it. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time for another episode of No Rolls